Okay, so here we are. Creating your reality is today's topic. And to be honest, that's how we're starting the podcast because I just decided this morning that I am going to start my own podcast. So, welcome. One controversial thing I need to say this out loud seriously. But a labubu is seriously, I just discovered what a labubu was. Hear me out. Controversial, reasonably, can I say that it's ugly? Hey, it's just my opinion. But a labubu is quite literally a modern day Furby. Can we all agree on that? Yes. Well, welcome to the Boss Lady Banter podcast. And yes, today's topic is going to be creating your reality. So in order to share all of those things, let's take a little step back. So as you know, I work in the health and fitness space and I have for about probably 7 years. I like to say 7 and then I add it up and it's actually probably about 10, but you know, I'm still 21 and I'm sure you all are as well. So I've worked in this space for about 7-ish years, maybe 10. And to be honest, I've known almost my entire life that I was put on this earth to help others. And I think subconsciously I discovered this when I was probably all of about 7 years old. I remember pretty clearly that I would have a little office desk made of a chili bin, and my paperweight on my little chili bin was a Macca's toy. Good old Macca's. And I remember that so clearly. It's almost like a subconscious manifestation of my future. Because to be honest, in school, I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, I did for aspects of it and for school talent shows and always gave everything a go. But I always knew that my thing, even if I question it sometimes, is to help others and to serve others. So let's go back again. So yes, the chili bin as a kid, picturing it as my office desk, which is very much true right in this moment. But let's go back. So back in school, I never forget this day. We went to, if you don't know, I am from Christchurch, so from the South Island. And at school, we did a field trip to a place called Ferrymead. I believe that's still the same name. I'm not sure if it's changed, but it's a place where you go for a school trip or in the weekends and you get to experience, what year would it be? I don't know what year it would be, but anyway, you get to dress up like olden days. In the olden days, you get to do calligraphy, you get to do hand washing, the washing by hand, and I think we did some baking as well. Some old school baking. And anyway, I remember when we went back to school that afternoon, and the teacher said, all right, guys, so I've got some questions about our day today. You know, we've been dressing up in our olden day clothes. We've got to experience it, and it was really cool. I need to ask you guys a really important question. So if there are 10 kids, right, which child gets the first bath? Like dirtiest to cleanest or cleanest to dirtiest? Now, look, I fire my hand right up, and I'm like, yo, I know the answer. And anyway, I fly my hand up. And this is where I realized that there was a mission ahead of me, even if I didn't realize it at the time. So I fly my hand up and I say, well, the dirtiest child gets the first bath, and everyone laughs. And the teacher's like, no, that's not correct. And I'm like, well, what? What? As in my brain, my empathetic brain wants the dirtiest child to have the first bath, but the logical answer would obviously be the cleanest to dirtiest. I get that. But that is where I sort of understood, not initially, but in time, that was my calling. Anyway, have definitely faced a few times where I feel embarrassed, especially growing up in a school setting like that, and for the way that I think, and always being the world's fastest reader. I don't know, my mind just tends to process things really fast, and just having more than your logical answer. I like to always think deeper when it comes to different things like that. But in that moment, I realized, I was like, oh, is it wrong for me to think that way? That's weird. Because in my mind, that small human, or the dirtiest child out of them deserved the very first bath. And I thought of a moment earlier when I was brainstorming about even having a podcast today, was the fact I remember, okay, mufti days. If you're a 90s kid, man, mufti days. Now, my mum, hope she's listening, was a freaking legend, right? So she worked at Ferry Down back in the day. And, I mean, it's probably all machines now, isn't it? Like, all, like, machine done. Anyway, she used to do sewing. And I used to love it because she would go to the op shop and she would like get like a pair of jeans and she would put like a Tommy Hilfiger logo like on the jeans and fully like always be super creative and repurpose clothing items and always make sure that we always had what we needed. And she somehow managed to do it always on a budget and in such a like epic way. I can't even explain it. Anyway, she was awesome. She also used to make these really cool polar fleece jerseys for winter. And I remember having like a Hello Kitty one. We'd go to, I don't even know if it's Spotlight you'd call it, but pick out your fabric and she'd whip it up and it would be bloody cool. Anyway, back to the main point. Mufti days. So if you're a 90s kid, you will know mufti days were always quite a big thing. And you know, it's where you wear your coolest. I mean, back then it was pulp shoes, HBK, Urban Angel. It could ultimately be a fashion parade on Mufti Day, right? I don't know about now because I don't have any children of my own. But anyway, I remember another moment now where I'm thinking, what? Why is my thinking different? And I turned up to Mufti Day and I can't remember for the life of me what I was wearing. Anyway, it was a beach day. And I mean, I'm not super fashionable, but I'm also not super cash. I mean, I spend bulk of my time now in activewear, so I understand that, you know, I'm in a lot of stretchy stuff. If I wear a dress, God, everyone freaks out. Everyone freaks out. They're like, whoa, where are you going? I'm like, going out for once in my life. Anyway, Mufti Day, beach day, right? And I don't know what I'm wearing. I remember it being pink. That's all I remember. Very boss lady theme fitting, isn't it? Anyway, and I remember this girl turned to me and she goes, who do you think you are dressed like that? And I think I must have only been all of 8 or 10. And I remember saying and thinking, well, I'm Louise Watson. What? Like, I was super confused. I was like, what do you mean? I'm Louise Watson, man. What do you mean? Yeah, it's so funny. School mufti days. Those were the days. And to be honest, I wasn't bullied by many many girls, growing up. It was the lads. And I remember, oh my gosh, okay, so I had a school bully, and I highly doubt he'll ever listen to this podcast, but I actually reached out to him like many years ago now. I'm 34 now, and he bullied me in primary school, and his name was Joseph Scott. Anyway, I remember we got in trouble and we had to play together in the school playground every single lunchtime, and interval or whatever you'd call it now. I can't remember what it was called. And we had to play together in the playground. It used to get me in so much trouble. And I asked him a few years ago, I can't remember how long ago now. I said, why did you always pick on me? Because you know how people always say, oh, it's because they like you. Anyway, I asked him, and I was like, God forbid he would never crush on me, would he? Like, he really didn't like me. And I asked him all these years later when I was messaging him and just seeing how life was in bits and pieces, and he goes, nah, I'm just a dick. Sorry for that. And I was like, oh. He goes, to be honest, I'm still a dick. I was like, great. Sometimes people do not change. Hilarious, right? So funny. Growing up. So yeah, I actually grew up in Christchurch and had an amazing upbringing. Definitely had some interesting challenges, and I want to strip it all the way back to, I was born early. I was a prem baby, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mum, if you're watching, listening. I was born at 24 weeks, right? So I was very small, the size of the big pen that I literally just wrote some notes down before I started. Well, to be fair, I'm actually just going off a whim. I haven't scripted this podcast whatsoever. So I was born at about 24 weeks. My mum had toxemia, and to be fair, she wasn't even showing when I was born. Very small, but we've always had some running jokes that it comes down to not having any patience, and that's why I was ready to rock and take over the world and be in this world and ready to help others and ready to help others see their value and their potential and everything in between in their world. So yeah, I had such a great upbringing, to be fair. If anything, it was probably myself. I challenged my parents. So I've got an amazing mum and I have an amazing stepdad, but I call him Dad. He's awesome. He's absolutely hilarious. And to be honest, I give him such a hard time and have had given him such a hard time. I even remember at the wedding, because he's got a plate in his arm from a motorbike accident. And I remember at my wedding, I was like, oh, no, Dad, you won't be able to do the YMCA. Funny. Yeah, growing up was awesome. We had so much fun. And I always remember, because, I mean, we didn't grow up poor, but we also didn't grow up super, super privileged. But in my own mind, it was privileged enough because it gave me so many amazing values and how things have sort of unfolded into my life now. And Dad was funny. I mean, we'd drive past McDonald's and all of us 4 kids. So there's me, I'm the oldest. I've got a brother and sister, Jesse and Ashley. They are twins, boy and girl twin. And my youngest sister, she wasn't born at that time, Montana. And Dad would drive past McDonald's and say, oh, would you guys like an ice cream? And we'd say, yeah. And he goes, oh, good, you're not getting one today. So funny. Just the little things that you remember growing up, and just things that teach you different values and assets that move into your life and career and just everything later on down the track, even if it doesn't really make sense in that moment, which is cool. So yeah, I always learned a lot from both my parents, especially my mum. I mean, she's super creative, and like I said, she worked at Fairy Mead back then. She's now within the fashion space, which is fantastic, and her passion is helping others too. And we've actually sort of collabed a little bit in terms of she styles my clients in her brand, which is really cool too. But like I said, fashion's never been my super big forte, but here we are. So yeah, I grew up in Christchurch. I moved to Tauranga maybe like 15 years ago after having some struggles, and it couldn't have been the best thing possible. So today's sort of theme was about creating your reality, right? So taking it back to the chili bin, it wasn't about always hitting that end goal straight away. And I sort of want to correlate that back to your health and fitness goals, because people always have these big, crazy ass goals, which are fine, which is absolutely, I would recommend, have some big, scary goals, but they want it yesterday. They want it now. And to be fair, I want to say that the outcome of my business and career and my values and who I am has taken time. The same with your health and fitness goals. It's not going to happen, essentially, cliche as it is, overnight. It's the power of all these things and obstacles and detours and things that you go through to make you who you are and to get you to that point. Because if I had $1 for the amount of times I've failed, and not failed, but sort of, had a hurdle and things pop up in my space and to derail where I'm at and where I'm going, I'd be super rich. Had so many obstacles in my business, but it's always been subconsciously there. It's just a matter of taking action. So creating your reality. So even before I even opened a gym, or even before I even had clients, it's about acting the part, right? So I had only just got a job at Snap Fitness, and this is how I created my reality, okay? Hear me out. So I would sit at the gym for hours, connecting and networking with others. And this was back before social media was in its peak. Like now, the market is very oversaturated, but I never think it's oversaturated because everyone's got something to offer, especially in the health and fitness space. That's why I'm the sort of person, you can never compete with me because I'm not a competitive person. I'm focusing on what I'm doing. And if someone thinks that someone else is better, then that's okay. That's on them. That's their own perception of value, right? Which is spot on. So things take time. So yeah, I ended up sitting at the gym for many hours from open, well not open, it's 24 hours. So early in the morning, connecting with gym members and potential clients. I mean, even back then I had no clients whatsoever. So it's building community and learning, because I feel like if I had have had 50 million clients instantly, I would not learn anything and implement anything into my business off the bat. It's been a matter of learning. Alongside with eventually going on to open 2 gyms. I've had 2 gyms in my time of my own, and both have had to close for different reasons. The first one I closed after COVID. So the building that the Louise Fitness gym was inside was a trampoline park. So the trampoline park had to close because you couldn't socially distance children, and that business was not really viable anymore, and a few other complications as well. But I took it as a sign to push on. I went to go work at another gym temporarily, and then I found another space in Tauranga here for a boss lady, in which I had for over a year and a half. And then they had decided to do the brand new State Highway 29A repairs and new roading. So that heavily interrupted my business. So I had to think again. And I think the biggest thing is always realizing, like, things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. So as much as both of those experiences were really shit and really hard, especially COVID. I mean, I had no idea what my future looked like. And in all honesty, I feel like the recession and times now are much harder than COVID, because during COVID, people were a lot kinder. People were a lot more willing to help others. And it is very much so a dog-eat-dog frickin' world. Because I shit you not, I always, when and where possible, comment on other fitness coaches' content if it pops up, or even, you know what, my favorite thing to do on TikTok is commenting on people I don't even know, giving them some love. Like, that's my favorite thing in the world to do. Like, if I see they don't have many comments and they've actually got some great content, or just, it takes 2 seconds to literally make someone's day. And genuinely mean it too. Like, don't just post, oh, nice work, for the sake of saying it. Fucking mean it too. Yeah, there's always enough success to go around. And I think there can be like a scarcity mindset around, oh my God, I'm not getting enough clients, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. But, the right clients are going to come your way, because you're not for everyone. And I'm definitely not for everyone either. And I appreciate that. Because God forbid if I was. You know how busy I'd bloody be? And I mean, I absolutely want to help as many lives as possible, but I want to help those that are willing to make a change and that can see value within themselves and want to put their own health and fitness goals forward and first as well. And it's interesting that I ended up in the health and fitness space, because if you are like a 90s kid or 90s adult now, they call it, PE was no walk in the park. And I feel like there are a lot more options now when it comes to sport and bits and pieces and after school curricular activities. Apart from that good old classic bloody beep test, I swear to God. But yeah, it's interesting that I ended up in a space where it's correlated to health and fitness, because it wasn't always something I enjoyed. The helping others, yes, and I never enjoyed the physical aspect until I got a lot older. And my biological parent, he'd actually suffered from 2 heart attacks in his time. So I wouldn't say I find it motivating. I ensure that I put my health and fitness at the forefront of my day and my mind to ensure that I'm looking after myself in different shapes, ways, and forms because it's crucial. So yeah, I grew up in Christchurch. I moved here maybe 15 years ago, and I think the best advice I can give you with anything in life is saying, what's the alternative? I've been saying this a lot lately, and I want to say it more because I feel like it's so fitting. What is the alternative? So I moved here, right? I had no job. I live with my auntie. I have 2 family members here in Tauranga, and I always think to myself, well, what's the alternative, right? So I came here and I was like, oh my God, I landed in Rotorua. And I was like, oh my God, it freaking stinks here. Literally, I'm like, oh my God, I have just moved from Christchurch to here. Are you kidding me? Where the hell am I? I'm like, nah, I'm going back. So I actually did fly back to Christchurch, and I actually trusted my intuition. I was meant to be in Tauranga. I didn't know why. I just knew that I had a mission, and a mission I did, but it didn't happen overnight. Had no job, right? No money, no car. Honestly, back then, no brains. So what I ended up doing, I picked up, I think it was the phone book. I'm sure it was the phone book back then, because, you know, social media hadn't really crept up to what it is now. Like, it's insane. Blows my mind. And I rang up every single cafe in the area and hotel and a few other places that were looking for workers, and I just rang them up and I offered them an hour or a few hours of my time for free. Said, hey, you want to hire me? And they'll say, well, why? And I said, well, I'll show you. I'll give you 4 hours of my time, and if you want to hire me, then yeah, sure. So that's what I did, and I always correlate that back to 99 no's, 1 yes. Like, you know, in this day and age, even now, it's even worse now. People want shit now. They want outcomes. They want the work, like, and you know, like Trudy says, the outcome that you want is from the work that you're avoiding, and it's so spot on. People just want to be in a rush to get to that finish line, to that successful part. And to be honest, even when you hit that point, right? I shit you not. Like, I've opened 2 gyms and I've achieved many different milestones. But I mean, you get to that point and then you're like, well, like, if you put your happiness solely into just like one main milestone, you're going to be very disadvantaged when you get there and hit it. Like, it's worth celebrating, but also not putting all that pressure on yourself too, because things don't always go to plan. Like, if you're like, I want to hit this goal by X amount of time, you know, you've got to be prepared for these setbacks and not letting it when, you know, ultimately pain you. I fully recommend giving yourself grace too, instead of allowing yourself to take those lessons and things that you've been through and really apply them to the things that you want to do. And things might even change too. I mean, I studied beauty therapy, I did psychology, and it was just hard because you just don't know what's the right fit for you, but sometimes it's just a stepping stone to the next part of your journey, and that's it. So today's mission and today's message is to create your reality. Start working on it. Take action. I mean, this morning I woke up and decided to do a podcast, so here we are. So if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave me a comment below. Leave a little emoji, a little heart of your color choice, and look forward to more coming your way.